What's up, boys and girls? What I'm going to do is I'm setting up on this tamarack log, this big larch right here. Customer wants it milled. And it's about 18 feet long. See, it's about 4 feet longer than my ladder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a long setup on my ladder and show you how I do it. And I'm going to set you down while I pull some stuff out here and go over it as we go along, just as I'm working. Actually, let's put you on this side. It's a beautiful Saturday here. I get you like this, you can probably see down here on the tailgate, and that's probably where I'll go over everything. There you go. Let's get some shit out of the way. Throw one sharp in the can before I start, because I was milling white oak yesterday. And I was doing some small ones. Nice. Awesome. What a way to start. I was doing some small logs yesterday, and I don't want anybody to accuse me of doing small logs, so I'll show you what I use when I have to do a long setup. You guys can make the same thing. So what I use is I made up some extensions out of plywood. What they have is they have a little groove rabbit in them, and they're made. You can see where the mill's already written on them. And I'll show you how those are set up. Pull out some more stuff quick so I don't keep going back and forth on you. Let's see if you guys see what I'm doing here. Alright, so I got some small screws in my box. Just grab like 6 of them. Grab a Phillips bit. I'll go through the whole setup too, so you're not going to miss anything. But let's see if I can get you guys to where you can see the log over here. Talk while I do it. Here, let's put this stuff down for a sec. I'll show you what's up here. So these extensions, they fit inside the rail right here really tight. I actually have to like snap them in. Okay, so they fit in here, and then I drilled holes on the inside, and I sink screws through here to hold them in place. And I make them as long as I need to make them to get past where I'm going. So that's what they look like when they're on. I'm going to put 4 of them on, run just enough extension so my saw has something to sit on going on and something to sit on coming off. It doesn't take very long, so for only one cut, it's no big deal. Now I'm going to use winding sticks too to make sure my setup's flat, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. But winding sticks will make sure that I got no twist in my ladder or anything when you're on the run this long. So I'm gonna get this thing set up, and where can I put you? Apologize for the it's hard for me to see behind it to see what you're looking at. All right, there you go. So you're looking at the log. So I'm gonna go ahead and let me get you up out of the dirt a little bit, maybe. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and just screw these on. Pull one on both ends. So I'm pretty much almost maxed out at my length with these. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I need more screws. Didn't bring enough. I'm gonna put this one in kind of where I would say is almost maxed out for stability, and that is that I got at least a couple of screw holes that holding it on. And because they're in the rails, they're pretty sturdy this way. That's just enough to get on. This is more than enough to go off, so I'll just put it right here. Don't leave any screws behind. Got that one and lost it. More screws. You can see it doesn't really take very long. They're just pieces of 3/4 plywood. Rabbets just the right height to get them to the top. They do ride on the inside of the rungs a little bit. So if you can get them bridging a couple of them, it's a little more sturdy. Off here, I'll show you it when it's done too. Just so you can see, so what it is the screws aren't holding this in place. The inside of the ladder, because it's stuffed in the rail, the inside of the ladder is what's supporting it. Seems to work pretty good. Of course, you want to go, I'm just going to grab my M brackets. You want to go a little bit above and beyond securing it down. Make sure that it's secured down as good as you can. I think what I want to do is, where this broken rung is right here, I want to take a chunk out right here and get this end down more. I'd like this rung to be against the tree. The reason that I want that is that I'm thinner down that end, so I want to be up a little bit higher. But I don't want this whole thing unsupported in the middle. Normally what I do is I take my saw and I cut a bunch of V grooves in the tree. Set the ladder down inside them. And I think I can get away with doing it without that here, so it doesn't make this video run 9 hours. I think we can just do it quick with a axe. There's some pretty loose bark here. It's a little bit of a high spot right here. If I can just do it so we can kill this ladder. It's a little bit of a high spot right here. Just create a little V for where that busted rung is, and let's see how it sits in that. Alright, good. So this one's going to be on the bark for when I screw it down, so that's a better spot. And I kind of like where that is. Got one high little branch there, we can mill right through it. So let's get the end of it on. Now, none of this has to be level. I'll tell you one little piece of advice is when you're, if anything, you want to scoot your ladder to the side like this so that the mill can run down the log so it's not pushing on the ladder all the time. Get some more screws out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the end supported, see what we can put on it for center brackets, and we'll go from there. The other thing is when you use brackets, like I have a couple different kinds, guys. They don't need to be perfect. I have some that initially were pressure treated that I milled. I actually milled them perfectly flat, and I use these also, but it doesn't really matter. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have a screw on one side so you can set the side of the setup against the screw, especially when it's the ladder. Now these flex a lot, so it's not really going to make a difference with these, but you want to set the side of the ladder up against the screw so the saw can't push the ladder sideways. This one we're gonna take out either a little more bark or I'm gonna lean the ladder. So one more second. I want to get this ladder over so the mill's riding right down here, or it's gonna really push the ladder here with that plywood. Boy Scouts. That whole effort is just to get at least this rung sitting on the wood, and I got one in the middle sitting on the wood, and that'll keep the ladder from shaking a lot when I go across. So, see if you guys can see what's going on. Yeah, pretty much. Bracket on the end here. Normally I would just trim this thing and take the saw out, trim this thing nice and square, but it's not going to make a huge difference on this log. Make sure you use the Torx bits on these brackets when you screw them in, because if you do it in hardwood and you use a Phillips head, you won't get them out. They'll strip. Get on the other end, put the one on the other end real quick, just with one screw so I can twist it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll try and show this as good as I can. I'm going to use the winding sticks to check and see if it's flat. I'm going to show you how. It's just like you would do in the shop. All right, there it is right there. All right, that's a good view. I'm almost going to guarantee it's been twisted a little bit. Or that it's twisted a little bit, so we're going to take that out because it's something like this. We want it to get as flat as possible. So winding sticks, they don't have to be straight, they don't have to be perfect. They just, when you set them on something, they have to be the same on the top. So we put one here. These are just a couple of old pieces of a frame from a kid's bed, from a crib. They're white. Then what you want to do, see if you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. You can't see exactly what I'm doing, but see if I get you set up here. I'll show you what I'm doing from up here. Get you out from around that post. There you go. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm sighting down them, and as I look down, and I bring my eye to the far line, and I bring it down. The back corner on that side is way high, so this corner over here either has to come up or that one has to go down. I only put one screw in that side, so I'm going to bring that far corner up. And what you want to do is when you lower your eye, you want basically that far line on that winding stick to disappear behind this one exactly, both sides at the same time. And with this length right here, this is giving you an unbelievable view. It's extending the twist, so it's giving you a great view. So I'm going to bring this one up a little bit, screw it in temporarily, and see if I have to do it a couple times. And I just put the screw in to hold it there. Now you have to be careful too when you put the center brackets in that you don't deflect it or anything, but that's not as big a deal. And now I'm going to sight down. All right, now that corner over there is slightly, very, very slightly high. I mean, like the smallest amount. I'm going to bring it down just a hair and try it one more time. You can really see what I'm talking about when I do this. It's when I say slightly high, I mean like the smallest amount that you can mess with. The only other way to do this is to run cross strings, run a string from this corner to that corner and this corner to that corner and see if they meet in the middle. That's the other way. This is faster, and it's been used by woodworkers for centuries. It's very, very, very accurate. And it's so close right now that I almost can't discern how little it's out. So I'm going to go with that. That's as flat as I can make it. So these two ends are coplanar, is what I'm saying. I'm gonna check it again. You can do it from this end too. It's absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Cannot get it any flatter than that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screw down some center brackets. And then eyeball the setup and make sure I didn't put any dip in it or anything. Now you only want to put the center brackets, the key to doing the center brackets, to only put them where you have wood. I'm gonna take you off here for a second just because I have to get in my box, but it's like dirty talk. So I'm gonna set you right here for a sec. I'm gonna get in the bottom of my box. This is all to just get us started on a flat surface. No twist. You guys know the lumber's going to twist as it is. Some people say it's overkill, but there's nothing worse than milling a whole bunch of crooked pieces and having to fix them. Alright, so the only one that I'm really in danger of having it flex around, I'm sitting on the wood here, I'm sitting on the wood there. This one's a hair off, so I'm just going to have to be careful when I tighten that one down. Where am I going to get the most shake? Probably want to put one on there because it's in the wood. I'm going to get a ton of shake here, so I'm just going to want to try to put one on here without bending the ladder down. Let's see if I get one more of these brackets. Yep. These are what these brackets look like. They're just pipe brackets. And the good thing is that when you have different distances, so if it's above the wood, you can bend them in like that and they'll go further. And if it's right on the wood, you can bend them apart and you go shorter. I'm going to put one on this broken rung right here too. Right on this side over here. See if I can take some of the shake out of this. Done. Screw them all down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like I've thrown out a few of them over the time here. I throw them out whenever they get bunged up, so I don't even have to do all these brackets. Just steal a couple more. So want to screw it down wherever it's hitting first. That'll secure it in place. Don't want to go crazy tight, just enough to where it's not moving. This one too. Got some junk in it. And you want to put the bracket where it's hitting, so you're not twisting it. Funny that it's balancing right here, and I put the weight on that end, the whole log went like this. This one I kind of want to be careful with. Now you could shim it. See if I can find one real quick. If you look down your ladder right now and make sure you're straight, it's perfectly flat. Perfectly flat. So if you're perfectly flat, you could shim this one and just have yourself some shingles lying around. Just want to get it so that the shingles underneath the screws keep it from bending down, and that'll give it some stability too. And you screw right through the shingle. Just don't want to deflect the ladder down. Make sure I didn't. Nope, still perfectly flat. This side looks like it went down just a hair. Back this up just a hair. Good, that's good. Believe me, you can see that. I know it looks like I'm just looking at it all willy-nilly, but you can see the dip. This one, I just want to kind of creep it over here. And again, same thing. I don't want to. When I first started at this, I would really take a lot of time shimming all these. You don't need to. It's going to shake a little bit through here. Just make sure that I didn't deflect it. Nope. Nope, always good. That's really it. I'm going to put a couple of screws in next to these outside ones right here so that it doesn't push these sideways. That'll keep this thing from going that way when you're on it with the saw. Let me do the same thing down here real quick. So as I come out of here, when I get on this part, the saw should be riding on the log. It will be, but keep this thing from trying to go that way. Just stick a screw in here. And that just keeps that from moving. So yeah, so that is a long setup. Show you, see if you can see how flat it is. I don't know if you can be able to see or not, but so it's flat, it's secure enough just for the saw to ride down here. You can see how the pipe brackets work. And that's just with a 2x4 on the end. And if you have a ladder that's not perfect, or that it's broken that you want to use from this, that's how you'd get all the twist out of it. You do it by sight just like that. So if you have a ladder that's not perfect, you can still use it for this. But I'm going to do a sharpening quick. And if fuel up and get ready to go, and I'll video this pass too. So I'm gonna cut it out right here, and then I'll run another video after when I do this first cut, since I was milling all those little short ones yesterday, and got people, hey, do you mill any real logs? Yeah, so we'll do an 18-foot pass and see how she goes.